This week in Career Pro Tips, we're going to talk all about your own personal board of directors, why you should set one up, and how to go about doing it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel to get your weekly Career Pro Tips. Welcome to Career Pro Tips by Life in the Green Room. Life in the Green Room is all about helping busy professionals who want more from their career. We provide action-oriented, tool-based plans and programs to help you take action and start driving your career where you want to go. Career Pro Tips is a weekly video series where we dive into one specific topic or question and give you strategies, tactics, and tips that you can apply right away if that's a topic that's really relevant to you. My name is Heather Green McLinn, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing at a Fortune 500 company. I have used these tips and strategies, and I have seen my peers, my colleagues, and my team use them. I know that they will help you start taking ownership of your career. Welcome to episode number 40 of Career Pro Tips. In this episode, we are going to talk all about setting up your own personal board of directors, and why you should consider that and the benefits it can have for you and how you should go about doing it. So before we dive in, I just wanted to point out one thing. A few episodes ago, I talked about setting up an accountability partner, and I'll link up that episode in the show notes below, but that's a little bit different. That's really you and one other colleague or peer that's probably close to your level who can really help you with something specific over a 6 or 9 month period, and you're going to meet regularly and really challenge yourself to work on one thing. The board of directors concept is a little bit more holistic. Ideally, you find some folks that can help you throughout the duration of your career and really keep pushing you to kind of move forward and try new challenging things. So I kind of gave you a sneak peek, but when I talk about having your own personal board of directors, I want you to think a little bit about companies. So companies have a board of directors, and the whole point is to get folks on that board that are from different industries, from different backgrounds, from different spaces who can come in and have some regular sessions and discussions and bring in totally different perspectives to give thoughts to the company as they think about the future of the company, how they want to mold it, where they want to spend their resources, how they want to shape it, things like that. And that's how I want you to think about this. So I want you to think about, how do I set up a personal board of directors? And so the point would be to get some people who are pretty diverse in terms of their background, their industry, their level. Like, I would encourage you to think about people who are early in their career and late in their career to give you a holistic perspective. Maybe you get people from different cities that might have different looks on things, people who work for a small company or a large company, etc. They can all bring you some value in your board of directors concept. So if this is something you're interested in, you would want to list. You don't need a ton. 3 to 6 people, I would say, is probably a great place to start, that have a mix of a background for you, who are going to be interested in helping you navigate your career over the next few years and can give you some really good coaching and advice. So you want to figure out who might be some good targets. Now, if you want 3 or 6 to agree, maybe come up with up to 10 people who are actually on your list, because you're going to get some no's, and that's okay. I've talked all about that in other episodes. You should expect a no and keep pushing forward, because you're going to find the right people who actually have the time and the commitment to spend with you. So identify some of the folks, and before you reach out to them, kind of figure out what you would like them to do. So how do you want to structure the conversations? What commitment are you asking for them? So then they can really understand if they've got the time and the ability to help you with your board of directors. So what might you tell them you're interested in? I would sketch out, okay, in the next 5 or 10 years, this is what I might like to do with my career. Now, they don't have to commit to 5 or 10 years. You don't need to scare them off like that. But if you know generally where you might want to go in 5 to 10 years, then they can have an idea in the next 2 to 3 years what you might really need to get done in order to get you in that direction. And so kind of having that sketched out, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just like everything we talk about here, you need to have a goal and a destination and be completely aware and understand that it most likely will change. That is the entire point. You still want to head in a specific direction that you own and you identify, but be flexible. Life happens, your interests happen, like change, they mold. All of these things are going to potentially make you do a shift, but at least at one point in time, you're heading in a direction and you can just change it as you need to. So sketch out your longer term goals, what you might like to do, and then talk to them about that along with, hey, in the next couple of years, I'd love your help on, do I need to go deeper in a certain discipline? Do I need to try something in a different industry? Like, what do I need to do so I can get down to this roadmap that I have kind of identified? Then you can start reaching out to the people that you identified. Now, again, I strongly encourage you get a big mix. Definitely do not get everybody from your own company or everybody who went to your college, because you're not going to get the wide variety of ideas and concepts that you need to really make your best choices. So maybe include people that are entrepreneurs versus people who work at huge companies, which I did talk a little bit about. And so they can get a full rounded idea. And then figure out how you want to interact with them. It's great if you can pull them all together in a lunch, but most likely you might end up with your board of directors not all being local, or certainly not having all availability at the same time. So maybe you end up having one-on-one conversations, or a conversation with just a few of them, and you can kind of piece them all together to figure out, okay, what are some really good options for me and how should I go after my career? Figure out how you can help them too. I mean, ask them very openly, hey, I loved your input on what I'm thinking about for my career. Is there anything I can help you to kind of say, can I make an introduction for you to somebody else? Is there something on your career I could help you with? Is there a piece of advice I could give? Just to make sure that you know that you want to build a two-way relationship. And as you're building up your board of directors, it would be really great if you challenge yourself to get at least one or two people on there that you don't actually already know. So maybe you've met them very casually at a networking event, or you kind of know them in passing and you reach out with them and ask them with a specific thing. Like, those are really great opportunities to get to know somebody else, get a broader perspective, have something specific you can talk to them about, and kind of challenge yourself in that manner. So what I want you to do, if your board of directors is interesting for you, is figure out your long-term plan, figure out how you want to interact with them, and then reach out to the people that you've identified and start to set this up. And the real point of it is to think about it like a company. Like, how do I get some other input so there are so many ways that your career can go. It's certainly not a ladder. It's an absolute jungle gym out there. And so what's the best path and the options are for you to navigate it? There could be things out there you've never even considered or heard of or thought of that somebody else could bring to the table for you that could really end up being something that changes the trajectory for you. I also want you to consider that you don't need to take the advice of everybody. I want you to collect all the information, absorb it, think about it. But one of the things I think is so important in owning your career is that you do the deep thinking about your career. So what do you truly want and what are you going after? Don't forget that piece of it. That's a super, super important piece. So once you have done some really deep thinking about it and you've collected all the other advice and opinions and thoughts, then you can figure out the best step forward that's going to make sense for you and your career. Don't forget to follow up with them, thank them for their input, thank them for them time, tell them how they used it, tell them what you learned. And also remember, in the last episode, number 39, I talked about going with your gut. Utilizing your board of directors can give you some really good ideas, and I do want you to do the deep thinking, but I want you to make the choice that you think in your gut is the right thing for your career, not just what's going to be easy for you right now. So I know there's a lot to unpack here in this simple topic of a board of directors, but it could end up being really, really valuable for you. So I would love to hear if you have implemented a type of a concept around a board of directors for your career, how you built them, and what's worked for you. Leave me a comment below. Until next week, here's to owning your career journey.